Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone, my name is Savannah Shawila and today I would like to present and analyze my lesson plan entitled Honesty and Trust. So this lesson is designed for grade 8 junior high school students in English class. So this lesson used The Boy Who Cried the Wolf by Aesop as the literary text, and the total time is 80 minutes, but it divided into two 40-minute sessions. So in this lesson, my main skills are reading and speaking, while listening and writing are used as supporting skills. And I selected these combinations because students first need to understand the story before they can express their opinions and perform a role play. And listening helps students build initial understanding, and writing allows them to reflect on what they have learned. Okay, so for the learning objectives, I would like to explain my learning objectives. So by the end of the lesson, students are expected to achieve 4 objectives. The first objective is to identify the main elements of the story, including the characters, setting, problem, solutions, and moral value after reading the text. The second objective is to express their ideas and answer questions using simple and appropriate English using speaking. And the third objective is to perform a short role play by creating an alternative ending to the story collaboratively with their group. And then the last is students are expected to write a short advice card consisting of 3 to 4 sentences for the main character using appropriate vocabulary and simple grammar. So these objectives moves from understanding to speaking and finally to creating. So students gradually develop both their language skills and their critical thinking. Why I choose this story for the literary text? I choose this story because it's simple language and suitable for grade 8 students. And the plot also is easy to follow, but the story still contains an important moral value about honesty and trust, so which is relevant to students' daily lives. So instead of only reading the story, students are encouraged to discuss, analyze, and even imagine a different ending. So this makes literature more interactive and meaningful. The learning material are divided into several parts. First is vocabulary, such as shepherd, wolf, sheep, village, liar, trust, and honesty. So this word helps students understand the story more easily. The second is reading focus, where students identify the characters, setting, problem, solutions, and moral values. So the third is the speaking focus, where the students ask and answer questions, express opinions, and perform role plays. And for the listening focus is identifying important information while listening to the audios. And finally, the writing focus is creating a short advice card. So to support communication, students also learn useful expressions such as I think, the boy should, and if I were the boy, and the moral value of the story is like that. So these expressions help students speak more confidently during classroom discussions. So prepared different learning media because each one has a different purpose. First is PowerPoint slides, introduce the lesson and attract students' attention, and the story handout supports reading comprehensions, and then the pictures help students predict the story visually before reading. Also the teacher narrations or audio develop listening skills and build curiosity. So the story detective missions, the story detective mission worksheets guide students in analyzing the story structure. Question cards are used during the pass the ball activity to encourage speaking, and scenario cards help students prepare their alternative ending role play. So the advice card template support writing, and the last is the whiteboard, projector, and speakers help classroom explanations and interaction. So each material is selected based on the pedagogical function, not only to make the lesson more interesting, but also to support different language skills. I will explain the learning activities, which are divided into 3 stages. The first is pre-activity, whilst activity, and post-activity. So in pre-activity, the lesson begins with greetings, prayer, and attendance. Then students listen to the beginning of the story through feature narrations or audio, but mostly in audio. And this activity activates their listening skills before they see the text. And after that, students answer prediction questions, and the teacher shows several pictures from the story, and students work in groups to arrange the picture into the correct sequence and predict what will happen. And finally, each group share its predictions with the class, and I designed this stage to activate students' background knowledge, increase curiosity, and prepare them for reading. So instead of immediately giving the full story, students first become active learners by making predictions. During wild activity, students first read the complete story individually. Then they complete the story detective mission worksheet, where they identify the characters, setting, problems, solutions, and moral value. And after that, students work in a pair in a character interview activity. So one student acts as a character while the other asks questions. So this activity encourages speaking and deeper understanding of the characters. And next, the students play pass the ball. When the music stops, the students holding the ball answer random questions card related to the story. So this activity creates an enjoyable learning atmosphere while checking comprehension. So in the last, students work in a group to discuss an alternative ending and prepare a short role play. And this stage is the core of the lesson because students move from understanding to the communications, their ideas creatively. So they are not only answering questions but also using English to solve the problems and collaborate with others. And for the post activity, students write an advice card for the main character, and after that, each group performs its alternative ending role play in front of the class, and the teacher gives feedback on the students, like the language use and performance. And then finally, the students reflect on the moral value and conclude the lesson together. So this stage allows students to apply what they have learned to both writing and speaking, also connecting the moral value of the story to real situations. Okay, next I will explain about the assessment. So I use two assessment techniques. The first is speaking assessment through the alternative ending role play. So I choose this assessment because speaking is one of my main learning skills that students demonstrate not only their understanding of the story but also their ability to communicate their ideas in English. So the speaking rubric consists of 5 criteria: fluency, pronunciation, vocabulary, grammar, interactions, and collaboration. So these criteria assess both students' language ability and their teamwork during the role play. So the second assessment is writing through the advice card. So students write 3 to 4 sentences giving advice to the main character. So the learning rubric measures 4 aspects: content, vocabulary, grammar, mechanics, including spelling, punctuations, and capitalization. So I selected this assessment because it allows students to reflect on the story and express the moral lessons using their own words. So to conclude this lesson plan, integrates all 4 English skills: reading and speaking are the main focus, while listening and writing support students' understanding and reflection. And the learning activities are arranged from predictions, comprehensions, discussions, creative performance, and reflections. So this sequence encourages students to become more active participants instead of passive readers. And most importantly, through the Boy Who Cried Wolf, students not only improve their English skills but also learn the importance of honesty and trust in everyday life. So I think that's all from me. Thank you for your attention. Thank you so much.